Hey guys, this is English Shooting. I'm Callum. Welcome back to the channel and let's get into the video. Today we're going to be going through how to complete the HSE led consultation, something that is incredibly important for you to fill out if you have any interest in shooting sports here within the UK. As a quick refresher, there were a number of proposed restrictions released from HSE on the use of lead ammunition. This would lead to the complete restriction of the outdoor use of lead ammunition for pretty much any purpose. No area will be untouched, from airgun shooting to long distance rifle shooting, hunting with rifles, game shooting, clay pigeon shooting, or even just out in the fields protecting crops. So let's stand together and all spend the couple of minutes it's going to take to have your voice heard to submit an entry to this consultation. The most important thing here isn't necessarily what you write or how much of the consultation you complete. It is just having a response. Starting off, our basic personal details. I really don't need to give any guidance on how to fill these out, but there's only one real decision to make, and that's how you are answering this consultation. Are you answering it as an individual or an organization or institution? For the majority of you, this is going to be as an individual. Tick that and move on. Page 2 is really the bare minimum you need to reach to be able to submit an entry, and this is just about your general comments. You don't need to go into finite detail, but you can talk about the proposed restrictions entirely or just specific elements. This is the box to have your say, to have your opinions heard about what you think about these restrictions. Fill this in at the bare minimum, and then you can go through the rest of the consultation, leaving everything blank. Press submit, and then you are done. In terms of suggestions of responses, I'm going to put all of my draft responses in the comment section below for you to have a read through. Now, whilst I'm sure there will be people that will just copy and paste, this isn't necessarily the best approach. Use it as a guide, reword it in your own words, or write something based off of it. It is going to be much better to have unique individual responses rather than everybody responding the same. For this general comments box, this is what I'm going to base my answer around, and this was actually submitted by a subscriber of the channel, so thank you very much for that. And it's from their own club, giving it as a recommendation, again stressing to reword it in your own words. Private target shooting rifle ranges are designed to JSP 403, which is the design, operation and maintenance suite of documents primarily constructed for MOD ranges. The spent lead ammunition is all contained by and recovered from the sand in the backstop, but it is sold for scrap and recycled. None enters the environment. Thus, ranges like this can be licensed for the use of lead ammunition. MOD rifle ranges totally ban the use of lead-free ammunition. It has unknown properties and will unacceptably ricochet. Its use is dangerous on ranges. Also, lead-free ammunition for the smaller calibers is extremely noisy. Its use would shut down many ranges. It is also very expensive and very inaccurate. A ban on lead for target shooting would kill off the sport in a short period. I think that's a very good guide of the sorts of points that you will want to make. Yes, it is very focused on target shooting, but hunters out there, rough shooters out there, you know your sport better than anybody else, so you can apply the same principles to perhaps your response. Again, this is really the bare minimum that you need to do to respond to this consultation, but we are going to continue through it as there are 4 other sections that I would advise trying to answer and submitting your own words to. Just a quick interruption to ask you to like and share this video. It is incredibly important that as many people as possible fill in this consultation, and that can be down to you by sharing this to people people by making them aware of the consultation, but hopefully to give them the guidance and confidence to fill it out. For most people, I think you can skip past page 3 and 4 completely. It's really not going to apply to the majority of people out there. Yes, I would advise going through and just having a quick read, but don't get hung up on any of these questions. And I think it's these pages that are really confusing people. The data and information that you would require to give an accurate estimate to the majority of the questions on these pages, your average shooter is just not going to have access to. These questions are very much focused on the institutions and organizations to answer. As an individual, I really think there's no expectation of you being able to answer these. So my recommendation would be to just skip past them straight on to page 5. Both page 5 and page 6 are very similar, talking about buyback schemes for lead cartridges, but also lead bullets. Again, the majority of this can be skipped, but at the top of each of page 5 and 6, there is a box for general comments to be submitted. And again, I would recommend just putting your own words and your own thoughts about a potential buyback scheme, the pitfalls and maybe even slight benefits of doing one. Now, again, this is going to be a guide from what I'm writing. Use it as much as you want, but try again to put it into your own words. If you're going to use it as a basis, you can find it in the comment section below. A buyback scheme would be mostly ineffective if the compensation offered is under market value for the ammunition. It is likely to not encourage hand-in. If compensation offered is above market value, it will open up for abuse and huge additional costs for the scheme, which could be better spent elsewhere. Furthermore, with the use of lead ammunition being so difficult to enforce or even detect, it is more likely that people will continue to use it, using their remaining stocks rather than use a buyback scheme, rendering the exercise pointless. For me, I'm going to be using the same response for the top of page 5 and the top of page 6. So let's move on to page 7. Again, I really don't think you need to worry as an individual about answering any of the other questions on those pages. Page 7 is mostly focused on organizations and institutions, but there is an additional comment section at the bottom where you could make your own remarks. As a guide, this is what I'm going to be entering for my response. Target shooting. The evidence presented by the HSC of risk from lead ammunition to soil, plants, and livestock is not conclusive. Furthermore, there are existing regulations relating to lead in the food chain that address these factors. Live quarry shooting. The quality of current lead-free alternatives would make live quarry shooting inhumane. The size of ammunition used means that HSE do not consider primary exposure of lead rifle ammunition to birds to be a risk. It is clear that huge assumptions have been made on incomplete evidence within this report, with little to no understanding of hunting or target sports. The cost and benefits are at best guesswork. To massively change an industry based on this, most likely resulting in the closure of many clubs, ranges and businesses, is reckless. I do want to again thank the NSRA for their guidance, because I'm heavily, if not almost all, basing my response on what they have said, but I really don't think there's any way better to put it. Finishing page 7, we're now on to page 8, which is really the last page of the consultation with an additional comments box. Once again, you have the chance for you to have your voice heard. You may want to repeat some points you've already made throughout this consultation, or anything that you feel you haven't yet had the chance to say, you can put it in here. Whilst improvements in lead shot alternatives for quarry shooting and clay shooting are being made, there are almost no viable alternatives for lead ammunition in rifle shooting in terms of cost, performance or availability. Clay and target shooting with lead shot is contained to specific areas where the lead can be recovered. Furthermore, there are a number of disciplines that specifically require lead shot to be used due to shooting at steel targets, such as IPSC, where the restriction of lead would stop the sport. Due to rifle target shooting again being contained to specific areas, the limited amounts of lead used for live quarry in comparison, and non-viable alternatives for air guns, these areas should also remain unaffected. Any further restrictions within these areas pose little to no benefits, whilst creating huge additional costs for shooters, rangers and businesses, not just monetarily, but cost the existence of shooting sports, period. Moving on from page 8, you have page 9, and this is simply if you want to have your responses sent to an email address. Then you are done. That is the lead consultation completed. Really how simple and easy overall it was. It did take me a little bit of time looking through it, going, hang on a minute, how on earth would I ever answer this question or that question? And I can completely understand the confusion that it has led to. This consultation is more focused on organizations and institutions, and really they are going to be the ones that can give the overall best answers. But we still need as many individuals to respond to show the numbers of peoples within this sport and to show how many people it is going to affect. So I really hope that this video has shown you, first of all, how to tackle the consultation, which questions to answer, which ones to potentially ignore. Of course, if you have the information and the data and you feel comfortable and confident in answering the other questions, please do. But as an individual, what we've gone over today, that really is the bare minimum, and it's not going to take you that long at all. Hopefully we have a much better response than the firearm safety consultation. We really do need it, because this is, or potentially could, affect the entirety of shooting sports here within the UK, and absolutely nobody wants that. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you have found it useful and helpful, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing for any future videos. Of course, as always, guys, I hope to see you soon.